Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
Morning, I'm good. How are you?
Lovely. Congratulations on the film. It's so different from every horror film and especially every exorcism film that I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
So congratulations
Thank you.
on that.
Thanks a lot.
So for those that don't know, tell them a little about what it's about.
It's about a nun who wants to be an exorcist, and the church tells her you can't be an exorcist. But she has actually lived through a childhood with a possessed mother. So she has more experience with the topic than any of the priests that are performing exorcisms. And she's basically saying, priests, you've been making this about yourself for millennia, you and the demon, you and the demon. Why don't we focus on the victim and not just use the victim as a battlefield, but kind of have a more therapeutic role in the whole thing as the coach for the victim to battle the demon from the inside. So she comes in with a whole new female approach, which for the church and the status quo is kind of more dangerous than the devil itself, you know. So she very quickly kind of bumps heads with the patriarchy.
Mm-hmm. And I love how each exorcism scene is so different visually. The visual effects are so different. The emotional stakes are so high. So what were some of your favorite moments that you feel most proud of?
It's interesting because my favorite moments are always the silent, quiet, tender moments. It's like an expression of Jackie's while she is standing by herself at the window or something, where I'm like, oh, I'm getting goosebumps because this is special. And all the big set pieces, because you work on them for so long and they come together in so many layers, you know. And then once they are done, you can never see them with virgin eyes because you know all the screws and everything. Yeah. So I'm proud of them, but I will never be able to see them the same that an audience sees them. Whereas these moments, if Jackie just does something on screen that hits me in that moment as hard and does with me what it would do with an audience seeing it for the first time.
Yeah. And I know when you first saw Jacqueline's audition tape, you said, that's the one. And how did I not know her before this moment?
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
Well, I wasn't the first director on the movie. There was another director who had quit 1 week before pre-production started. And as a director, obviously, the biggest tool in your arsenal is your lead actor, which is why I want to cast my own lead, obviously. And the studio sent me 2 quick times and said, especially this one, we love this actress, we'd love it if you loved her. And that was exactly the sentence I needed to hear to go like, well, I already don't like her. I haven't even seen the tape. I'm going to cast my own actress, whatever, play. And then 2 minutes later, I was like, there were tears running down my face because her audition was so strong. And usually in an audition, I had this experience with a short film in film school that someone came in and did a perfect audition for a woman who had to be completely destroyed and emotionally empty and all that. Then we shoot it, and this actress couldn't act to save her life. And it turned out that the night before the audition, her boyfriend had split up with her. She had cried the whole night. And what she was doing in the audition was not acting, that was her mental state. So since then, I'm always taking something and throwing something at them to tweak something, to see if they can also kind of do something completely different. And Jackie's tape was the first time that I was looking at something and thought, there's an entire arc of so many emotions, from the vulnerable, the fragile, to the kick-assness, to the rage behind all that, to the trauma. She has shown me in 2 minutes every emotion we could possibly ever need in this movie. So I was like, we'd be crazy not to go with her.
So tell me about collaborating with her.
I mean, she is right there, so I feel... But it was wonderful. It was really, it's so... To me, making a movie is so scary, and I'm so vulnerable because I always have to pretend I have this vision, and I don't, you know. So I feel this intense love for anyone who is there for me in that moment, and this excessive hatred for difficult actors that are not. And Jackie is like the epitome of the actor that you can turn to and go like, I don't know how this and this is gonna work. And she'll go like, let me try something. And then she does something. So, you know, some of my favorite moments are when she did that, and she not just did a great performance, but it saved me from a directorial, I have no idea how to solve this problem. And she just did it. And I just want to marry her in that moment. And there were plenty of those moments. So she's incredible. And also for the whole mood on set, because the number, you call it the number 1 on the call sheet, so sets the mood for the entire shoot, for all the cast. Is it combative with the filmmakers? Is it collaborative? And Jackie just took everyone under her wing, especially Posy Taylor, who was 9 years old at the time. And to see them together, that is so much of my plate as the director, where I would have had to invest so much time into making the 9-year-old not scared of the process and making her comfortable. That's all stuff Jackie did, you know. That's invaluable.
Yeah, so tell me more about working with Posy.
Posy is such a talent. She has no education, obviously, in acting. No acting school, has never acted before. I think she made crazy YouTube videos or something. She pulls it from somewhere that I have no idea what it is and I don't have access to, which is scary as a director, because usually you want to figure out how an actor works so that you can help them the best and learn their language. With Posy, there was no language, there's just rare, raw talent that she pulls from somewhere. So you're totally at the mercy of the God-given talent of this 9-year-old, and she just delivered day after day after day. That she does a first take where I'm like, oh, that's pretty off. I wonder if we'll get there. And then I tell her something, and I'm like, does she even, as a 9-year-old, do you even understand all the blah blah that I'm throwing at her? She was like, yeah. And then she does it, and it's wonderful. You know, and I'm like, phew. So I don't know how she does it, but she'll go far, that girl.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, do you believe in supernatural forces?
The short answer is no, I don't. But I come from a whole family of non-believers and non-superstitious people. But my grandmother told me this story, and she is a total non-believer. She was like, I will tell you the story, I have no answers, but this is what happened in 1932 when I was in Berlin and my mother was in a whole different city. In the middle of the night, apparently, she woke up and there were shadows, she said, around in the room, and they whispered, your mother is dead, your mother is dead. And there was no reason to think that her mother would have died. You know, she was a healthy woman and whatever. The next day, the news comes, the mother has died. Heart attack, out of nowhere, middle of the night, exactly the same time that she saw those shadows in the room. And my grandmother's like, I'm not saying there are ghosts, I don't know what it was. The only thing I know is that this happened. I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what to do with that, but, you know.
Wow. And so you have just an intricate knowledge of the horror genre based on this film, your past work. Do you have a favorite horror film?
I just rewatched one, an Austrian one, Good Night, Mommy, that they just remade. I haven't seen the remake, but the original is the creepiest movie you've ever seen in your life. And the craziest experience in a theater I've ever seen was with Paranormal Activity, where one woman literally threw up in the theater, and it had the audience's nerves so raw that with every cut, everybody was screaming. There was nothing happening. It was just a cut from here to here, and the audience was like, "Rah!" At every, you know, which was such a good learning experience that it's about where you get the audience. It's not about what you do in that moment. It's about the kind of level of anxiety that you keep them at, and then you can spring whatever at them, you know, and they'll react to it.
Yeah, you achieved that in this film.
Good.
Definitely.
Good.
And so what have you been watching lately that you've really enjoyed?
This is not horror related at all.
No.
I've watched The Great, which is an incredible...
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Right? Huzzah! Which our composer Nathan Barr made the music for, coincidentally. So that was just great. I rewatched one of my favorite shows from way back, which was Halt and Catch Fire. Best pilot ever made in the world. It's perfect. And if you just watch the first season and the fourth season, just skip 2 and 3, it's the best show ever. So I'm kind of going back to the classics.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for the art that you bring into the world. Thank you for this film.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Have a lovely day,
You
Daniel.
too. Thank you so much.